The Packers travelled to the New Orleans Saints. Technically travelled to Jacksonville to take on the New Orleans Saints. Green Bay with the MVP from last season, Aaron Rodgers, with his long hair, meant to be one last dance to really enjoy himself, and he got battered by Jameis Winston. Whose game was this? Was it Jags?
Was it Jags?
It might have been.
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it finished 38-3 to the New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston had probably the best game he's ever played in his life. Everything he did just worked. Drew Brees even said, they finally got a quarterback who can now throw it deep, which pretty much sums up what he's been doing for the Saints for the past 4 or 5 years. 5 passing touchdowns in one game for Jameis Winston, which obviously is the best of his career. And for the first time ever, he's not had an equal touchdown to interception ratio after one game. So it's pretty impressive. Last full season he was 32 touchdowns to 31 interceptions. Now he's 5 touchdowns with no interceptions.
From a Green Bay point of view, it was absolutely dreadful. I don't think you'll see a worse performance from a team this season. They just look so disinterested. It was the case. It was Rodgers and his crew and the rest. The Green Bay camp just looks so divided. And in the end, Aaron Rodgers was making throws that if an Aaron Rodgers cared, just wouldn't have made. For his end zone, his own end zone wasn't even under much pressure. And instead of when a lot of quarterbacks will launch the ball down as I say, the sideline, just get rid of it. But Aaron Rodgers, up there with the most experienced quarterbacks in the whole NFL, launching it midfield. Basically say, here you go, safety, have a freebie interception. It was just embarrassing. Devontae Adams was in the game. Aaron Jones couldn't get the run game going. Robert Tonyan, another one. He joined in that elusive clubs of players that may as well not been there this week. It's quite a few that still think they're on their postseason summer holidays. Matt LaFleur, as I say, no influence on the team whatsoever. His ideas are getting worse. Then Mike McCarthy's in the end. It was just an absolute battering. And one thing that we should have learned, not only from our colleague Brad, who's the only one who backed the Saints, but it doesn't matter where Green Bay play, even when they're remotely any good. As Jamie has numerous occasions mentioned about Aaron Rodgers before he started liking him again, his road record is dreadful. And that proved it again. I mean, you thought he would have liked sunny Florida rather than, unfortunately, what's going on in New Orleans at the moment. But it looked like the sun was too much for him. He just wanted to sit on the bench in the shade. Dreadful from a Green Bay point of view.
You mentioned Robert Tonyan. He is another player that I drafted in my fantasy team. He this week had 2 receptions for 8 yards. So it really hasn't gone well so far this season with my fantasy team. But honestly, everything... What's that?
I had Aaron Jones and stinker on it.
Absolute stinker.
But Brad, just quickly, I think it's worth, as mentioned, giving New Orleans credit because they just executed the game plan perfectly. Used Kamara, and you was the only one out of us 4 that backed the Saints. Bear in mind they were obviously all what's been going on in New Orleans, Louisiana. You backed them to beat Green Bay. What was the thinking behind that one? It proved to be an excellent decision.
If I'm being brutally honest, I think when I did my little joke analysis, I put here we go again with dodgy decisions at the Dome. I didn't actually realise it was being played in Jacksonville. But I don't know where it was. I just think Rodgers, as he's getting older, but yes, his experience is there. Yes, his experience is key. His performances are slipping, and you saw that in the championship game last year. It is slipping, and I just think the Saints, yes, they did have, yes, they've got Kamara, and it was just clicked. It just clicked for the Saints, and it was just as you boys have mentioned, it was embarrassing for Green Bay, absolutely terrible. I think one of you boys pointed out the only positive when the last time the Saints slapped a team 38-3, the losing team went on and won the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I can't see that happening for Green Bay, but it's the only positive I can give them, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that is spot on. The last team the Saints beat 38-3 was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 8 of last season. So is that a good omen? For the Saints to get battered. Winston only threw 148 yards, but the fact he got 5 touchdown passes is pretty insane. The running game really helped. Tony Jones, Alvin Kamara as well, both over 50. Just a bad day at the office for the Green Bay Packers, and they've got the Lions next. So if they're gonna win, if they lose the Lions, then I think red flags. But they should beat them.